Hello, I'm Dr. Whit Jones, and I want to introduce you to Apologia Online Academy's American Lit, which I will be teaching two online sections of this fall. I am a college English professor. I've just finished 28 years of teaching at Bryan College, and before that, I taught 4 years of public high school English. I also had four children whose literature instruction and writing instruction I helped with a great deal as we homeschooled them up through high school. Because of this varied background, I think I know a good deal about both the struggles of high school students and the needs for textual interpretation and good writing in college. That's what I try to provide in this American Lit course. I'm a little bit unusual as an apologia teacher in that I actually wrote my own text um, for Apologia. And I contributed heavily to this notebook that you have as well. Um, those are the two main required texts for the course, and you can purchase them relatively inexpensively from Christian book distributors. And what they do that other textbooks out there don't do is they, first of all, pick strong classic works, and then the text contains really good analytical questions that lead you into an interpretation of the work. And then I have actually written full online answers for those questions that you can find online at Apologia Book Extras. So I assign certain questions each week from the American literature text, questions on works we're reading, anything from a poem by Edgar Allan Poe to a short novel by Ernest Hemingway, whatever we're reading for that week. And the class goes all the way from early American colonial writers and even one Native American writing, all the way up to modern literature. People like Ernest Hemingway, T.S. Eliot, William Faulkner, Lorraine Hansberry. We do a lot of, we cover the whole gamut of American literature in the course of the school year. So a lot of what's out there, the other curricula that we saw out there for American Lit, either didn't pick very interesting or rich literary works, or they provided only very superficial questions on those works, or if they provided questions that went more deeply, they didn't help the students find the answers to those questions. So I try to provide good interpretive questions to help you really understand the work of literature, and I provide online answers that you can check your own answers against. You're not allowed to copy your answers, but you are allowed to check, you are required to check your own answers against my answers. And students have said over and over again that that really helps them know whether they're on track or not as they turn in homework answers and as they prepare for the chapter tests, which involve objective questions and an essay for each of the chapters that we have tests on. And then there are two semester exams. And then there's a poetry interpretation paper and a short story interpretation paper in the course. And the notebook and the textbook prepare you very well to do all of those things successfully. I also try to give feedback on your writing so that you know what you're doing well and what you can improve on and how you can improve both in content and in grammar and style and wording. And I approach literature in a way that can make it relevant to the life of any student. I don't think that a classic work of literature should be bowed down to just because it's called classic. I believe that a good teacher ought to be able to help you discover what is special about that work. And a lot of in pretty much every case, what is special about a classic literary work is not just its skillfulness, not just its entertainment value, although those things are important to literature. And those are things that we explore and experience in this course, but its truth value. Any classic work of literature survives because each new generation can see something of themselves in their own lives in those characters and plots. Um, all truth is God's truth. And the best writers, non-Christian as well as Christian, are capturing something of what God put into us when he made us, and changing unchanging truths about who we are and how we think that haven't changed since creation. So I try to help you see what is the truth that the work is communicating. And even if it's a non-Christian writer, a lot of times that truth will at least in part be an affirmation of biblical truth. Now, we don't force a non-Christian writer to be more Christian than he really is. Hemingway is a Stoic existentialist, not a Christian. We don't shoehorn Christian meanings into The Old Man and the Sea, but we do look at ways that Hemingway, in capturing something of the truth of human nature, is affirming truths that the Bible also affirms, even as we disagree with Hemingway's vision of life in some areas. So what's an example of that? Here's a question for Nathaniel Hawthorne's story, Young Goodman Brown, that I used in my textbook. Note that the two main colors listed in the story, pink and brown, are not primary colors, but mixtures of other colors. Pink may symbolize the innocence Goodman Brown initially attributes to his wife, but Hawthorne is also very likely using pink and brown to symbolize the mixture of potential goodness and evil in every human heart. The story is, in part, about how we might react to the fact that we can't know for certain just how much good and evil are present in the hearts of those closest to us. If young Goodman Brown's response to this ambiguous mix of good and evil and others is a wrong one, what should ours be? How, for instance, does the Bible suggest we should live with people who are both sinners and made in God's image? And then the answer that I provide online that students can check their answers against reads like this. 1 Corinthians 13, 7 and 8 says that love, quote, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never fails. This means we are to hope for the best and believe in the best of those we love until we're proven wrong. We are to go on loving them even when circumstances or their own actions discourage that love. Young Goodman Brown's withdrawal from loving others, based on his uncertainty about how sinful they may be, is unbiblical. Then with regard to the Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea, a work from later in the course, just as Hawthorne's short story is from the first half of the course. Here's a question. Even in his exhausted state, the old man kills 3 sharks, but then others come in the night and eat the flesh from the marlin that the old man has had to tie to the side of the boat. Santiago's statement as the first shark attacks is surely Hemingway's own statement of his story's theme. Quote, a man can be destroyed, but not defeated. What is Hemingway saying about true heroism and its rewards? How is this statement consistent with his Stoic existential worldview? Hemingway is saying that true heroism is the willingness to keep striving, to refuse to give up. This is the online answer that students can check their answer against, even though one cannot ultimately win. The true hero is undefeated in spirit, even if he loses his physical battle, even if he loses his very life. This statement is consistent with Hemingway's Stoic sense that a man must exert his will to do what he thinks is right, no matter what physical or emotional obstacles he faces. It is also consistent with Hemingway's existential belief that there is no God to save, honor, or reward the man who lives heroically. In the end, he must endure defeat and death like other men. And then one last question on the old man and the sea. To what extent can a Christian model his life after Santiago? Santiago is the old man, the fisherman in the story. To what extent must a Christian diverge from Hemingway's vision of the heroic life? The answer begins this way. The Bible strongly endorses courage, determination, humility, love, and sensitivity to the beauty of nature. These are all qualities in Santiago. What the Bible does not endorse is Santiago's sense that he must fight life's battles alone. And the answer goes on from there. So I'm helping you see what parts of the Old Man and the Sea are consistent with biblical truth and what parts are not. What's remarkable to me is that even a non-Christian Christian writer like Hemingway captures so much truth in his work. So what do you learn from American literature? You learn about the remarkably high quality of literary writing that characterizes America's development. You learn how to interpret any work of literature on a deeper level. But most of all, you learn how to apply the truth of literature to your own life and to your own walk with the Lord. Um, One student had this to say in her evaluation of last year's American literature course. Dr. Jones's approach, personality, methods, requirements, and grading are all fantastic. His class is more than just an image on a screen. Through personal stories he tells, obviously heartfelt prayers, and a couple of check-in personal emails, Dr. Jones has shown that he actually cares and is interested in the lives of his students. During the class, I have never heard him say anything that isn't positive, and his constant encouragement and prayers are what makes his class truly successful and meaningful. I found that the questions Dr. Jones assigns are especially helpful in helping me understand the work, and his methods of explaining and critiquing the answers are both helpful and ideal. And then she goes on, I found that the most important aspect of the American literature text was the clear, explanatory notes in the margins. They explained a few hard to understand concepts in the work and provided definitions of difficult words. The books being divided into sections based on eras and time periods was also very helpful and helped me find my way around the book easily. I enjoyed the historical backgrounds of the writers. It helped me better understand the reasoning behind their works and get further in depth into their personal life. The introductions to the units were also very helpful. They provided historical backgrounds of the time period and explanations of key ideas of the eras. The student notebook is written in the same clear way. I would definitely recommend this course. It is seriously life-changing. So welcome to American Lit. I hope that I will see a number of you in one of my online American literature classes this fall. Students say it prepares them for college in writing and textual interpretation. Students also say it grows them as believers. God bless you. Hope to see you.